I ventured out this year. I left my job as the chief product officer at Dribbble to start a brand new company. And that company is gigantic. My goal is to help you master the new influential disciplines that are driving results within organizations, like product leadership taught by Ben Foster, the former CPO at Whoop. It's not just video courses. We're combining video lectures with take-home assignments and exercises, and then small group mentorship to really help level you up, and all at a cost that most companies' learning and development budget covers. So if you're interested, go to gigantic.is, that's gigantic.is, sign up for a course, and I'll walk you through everything that you need to know. And if you enroll and let me know that you heard about this on Rocketship, I've got a special discount for you.
Welcome to the Rocketship podcast. I'm Michael Sacca.
I'm Joelle Steiniger.
And I'm Matt Goldman.
And we're having 20-minute talks with entrepreneurs teaching you how to launch your product into revenue.
Check out our book at howtobuildarocketship.com to reserve your launch discount and to download a free chapter.
Today we talked with Josh Long, designer, writer, and creator of many awesome products. He talked with us about the balance between all his multiple projects and income streams, and his passion for learning through all the different projects that he works on. He also shares both his excitement and his concerns about moving forward with a single focus on one product and aiming much bigger than he ever has in the past.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our awesome sponsors. CodeShip makes continuous delivery simple and easy. Go to codeship.com/rocketship to get 20% off 3 months.
We'd also like to thank InVision app. InVision is by far the best prototyping and collaboration tool on the market. Go to InVision app/Rocketship to get the starter plan free for 90 days.
Customer.io is a modern email platform built for startups. Go to customer.io/Rocketship to start sending emails that convert.
Welcome to the Rocketship podcast. We're here with Josh Long, the designer and writer. Josh, welcome.
Hey, guys.
So, you have a multitude of projects. Tell us what you're working on right now.
So my main focus right now is Simplecast, which is the the hosting platform that I have. We're building a new product that kind of a branch off of Simplecast, and that's the main focus. And then of course I've got Patterns, the Execute stuff, and Cheddar. So we're about to release a whole new suite of apps. It looks like submitting this week.
Nice. Well, Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So for Simplecast, what's on the horizon? Where are you taking this?
Well, I think it's interesting, right? Like we've been talking about, there's so many different ways. If you have a product or you have a business, there's so many different ways to fund it. So with Simplecast, I am for the first time exploring with VC capital. So I have a new strategy for Simplecast. Right now it's a hosting platform, but we're looking to build an entire platform that basically lets anybody start their own radio network, if you will. The things like CarPlay from Apple are coming out, and audio is this really big platform. So I'm shifting a lot of my focus. The hosting product itself is running itself. So that's part of it. But I'm looking now to create a simple way for people to start their own radio stations for the internet and also to consume them. So that's my main focus, right?
So it runs itself. Why take on it? I mean, we use it. It's fantastic. But
thank you.
Why take on more, or why take on the capital at this time? Where do you get from it?
Well, to be honest, it's kind of, what I want to do is very, very, very ambitious. And that ambition turns into finding the most absolute best possible team that you can. But it also makes sure that you, with bandwidth, if you think about something like YouTube, right, like it completely took off and they couldn't even sustain it, which is why Google bought it in the first place. So, in a lot of ways it's fail safe, but this is an opportunity to, go really big and do something really big that a lot of people use. And it's something I'm super passionate about. I mean, you guys know you have a podcast, and, I've been doing podcasting for a while, and I just love it. I think there's a ton of great conversations that are going on out there. And now we have all this technology with CarPlay and mobile, with commutes and everything. Like, it's a grand opportunity to get those conversations heard and to find the new people and make it easy for them to do it.
Absolutely. So, I guess up until this point, you have self-funded everything, right?
Everything, yeah.
How have you done that? You have multiple streams and different ways that you do it through like book sales or sponsorships. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, so I have been self-funding things for quite a while now. The Execute book did better than we ever really expected it to. Just coming from a quick conversation with Drew. And then getting it done, written in 3 days and off to the printer in 8. That did really good. That was a lot of fun, and I learned a whole lot from it. Just basically out of this curiosity of really digging into what builders do. So the book funded quite a bit of stuff, and then I raised a lot of sponsorship money for patterns, for Execute, for the Happy Monday podcast that I do with Sarah. There's just it's amazing the relationship that you can have out there with sponsorships and just indie publishing as one person. I mean, I'm really doing this all as one person. So
I don't think anyone believes you, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's actually a multiplicity thing. I figured out a way to clone myself, which wouldn't be a good thing in reality.
How do you go about getting sponsorships for something like the Pattern School?
Well, one thing I think is create something that is as original as it's possible to be. I mean, nothing's really original if you look at it, but create something that is interesting and that has a story, and create a way for the people that you want to get sponsorships for, like find a way for them to get a lot of value, right? They have a ton of money. The thing about sponsorships is, and especially podcasts, like podcasts have a really good engagement and a really good click through or return, if you will, for a lot of these companies. They want to spend it. Like they really want to put this money out there and to support the community. I think of companies like Harvest and MailChimp and Media Temple. Like these companies really have our backs. Like they really, really want to be the support of the company. So, or the community, if you will. So if you come up with something original, just start the conversation with them. Find out what they need and what they would love to get back for their money, and just, make a win-win situation. It's business 101, if you will.
Do you approach them and say, I'm doing the podcast, I think I can add value here? And what does it look like? Are they always responsive? Do you have to email 10 people to get one? What kind of experience have you had?
Well, it depends, right? I mean, it's a lot of times it's about getting to the right person. It's just like sales. I mean, I don't know how much sales you guys have done in the past, but you always want to reach a decision maker. If you know someone that knows somebody, Matt, I know you've sent me a couple messages in the past about just making intros. Like that's a really good way to go. And then just don't harass people. If they say no, then it's fine. Like go on to the next thing. Like if they're not completely and 100% interested, move on either to the next person or just find out what they need and keep it in your back pocket for when you have a project that they want. But you've got to give them something that's going to pique their interest. And even if it's something cool, like I got a lot of sponsorship for The Great Discontent. They're just cool. You know what I mean? Like they're just doing a really, really cool thing and people wanted to be part of it.
This episode is brought to you by Miro. So when I was at Dribbble, over the 6 years, there was one tool that we would always use when we were doing cross-team collaboration. Whenever the collaboration started to get complex, we would bring in Miro. It made it incredibly easy to align stakeholders across regions and time zones and definitely teams with ease. And we were able to do all of that while being a completely remote team. It also has integrations into Jira, Azure, Rally, a lot of the tools that you're using already for product management and engineering. So you can import tasks from them as native cards, and it helps you see the big picture. It also helps stakeholders to understand what work needs to be done. It was incredibly valuable. And then they even have an estimation app that gives you a clear understanding of the work scope, lets you identify gaps, and then it has the ability for you to set clear expectations for delivery, especially when you're working across functions. So your first 3 Miro boards are free forever when you sign up today. Go to Miro.com/podcast. That's Miro.com/podcast.
Yeah, your story on the Great Discontent was one of my favorites, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I could absolutely
a lot
relate.
of interesting people on there. Oh, that's
to kind of your backstory. Getting kicked out of, or not kicked out, but leaving college, the whole frustration. You've come a long way since then. And I don't know, it was really refreshing to read. All of their stuff is absolutely amazing. So I don't know where I was going with it, but
yeah,
so
they're great.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about sales. You come from kind of a heavy sales background where you started doing cold calling, right?
Yeah. It was, it's really interesting, my background. I mean, my dad was an entrepreneur. He lost his job. He went through like 9 jobs in 3 years or something crazy. But he was an entrepreneur at heart. And, even as a kid, I was going like door to door. My dad started this engraving business in the corner of my bedroom and later in his own parents' garage when we all had to move in with them. But I was going door to door, selling desk plates and anything that could be engraved, even as a kid. Grew up with it. And, even when I was 5 years old, my dad was a manager of a Radio Shack. So he kind of like taught me how business ran, and I'd go in there and just geek out on all the stuff. Radio Shack was cool back then.
Yeah.
I'm a little older now, but yeah, it was a great time. I learned a lot. So yeah, background in sales, man. There was a point where I was making 150, 200 phone calls a day. I mean, like when I say sales, it's sales, and our family business is still run that way to this day.
So the engraving business is still open?
It is, yeah. It just celebrated 25 years.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, doing cold calling is probably one of the most miserable experiences.
Oh, it's awful.
But you have like 3 seconds to engage. It is something that, do you guys do that kind of thing in pattern school when you teach sales? Have you taken some of those lessons into that?
Yeah, I like hint at a lot of it, and I do tell the importance of it. It's a tricky thing because you don't want to be one of those people that really bugs people or, your typical telesales. But, even when I was working with Seth Godin, he had a time where he said, okay, like we're quiet. It's just a group of us. The most important thing you could ever do is learn how to sell yourself or sell. And, that's not really something that you like to talk about because people can't stand salespeople. But at the end of the day, if you're building a business, you have no business if you can't make sales.
So what do you tell to creatives who because sales today feels a little bit different? What do you tell to creatives who, they don't want to be salesmen?
Well, first of all, I say basically like create something as much as you can that doesn't have to be sold. You know what I mean? Because then all you have is an awareness problem. If people see it and it's a no-brainer for them, you don't have to sell. I mean, if you build something really cool and show the process of it. So if you're just an artist, let's say you're painting or you're an illustrator, if you let people into like what goes into your work, like if you show it takes hours and hours and it's taken years and years of skill, a lot of times people will appreciate that more and your value goes up. Or you could just, put something up on Cargo Collective or Shopify or something that you just threw up there and said, here, it's for sale. You might not get the same reaction. You got to bring people into it. So first, create something that doesn't have to be sold as much as you can. And then just make sure you're out there. Like you don't have to be one of these, infomercial salespeople, but just make sure people are seeing you, top of mind awareness, and just show them what you're doing and all the work that you're putting in.
So as we've been talking, I'm taking notes here about all the things that you're working on, and the list has gotten pretty long.
Sorry.
I'm just curious, like how you balance things or decide where to put effort, and if it's like more of a passion thing, like I'm really feeling like working on cheddar today, that's what I'm going to work on, or if you have more of like a scientific approach to input and output that you're getting from each of these, and the potential that you see more in the long term.
Well, it is a passion thing. We've all, it's kind of cliche, and we all kind of look at Steve Jobs as some demigod or something, but part of his commencement speech, he said, if you wake up too many days in a row and you're not excited about it, you're not doing the right thing. So everything comes from passion, and if you look at everything that I do, they all intermingle. And I'll let you guys in on a little secret. What I do is I learn, and then I turn whatever I learn into a product. Like, that's literally what I do. Like, if you saw my library here at Patterns, I think it's around like 2,000 books now or something. Like, literally, I am so curious, and I'm a knowledge just junkie, maybe too much. But all I'm doing, it seems like a lot of products, but at the end of the day, all I'm doing is learning as much as I can, and then trying to get paid to learn, if you will. So I turn what I learn into products.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
So, are you nervous at all to focus on one product for the foreseeable future?
That's a great question, and the answer is a resounding hell yes. It is. It's one of the things. So I'm reading a book right now, actually, called Essentialism, which is kind of interesting because, when you do a lot of things, I feel like I'm in this stage. Like, I just turned 35 a couple months ago, and I feel like I'm in this stage of trying everything and not being scared to try things, so that I know exactly what I need to do for like the foreseeable future. I'm getting to that age where you don't really want to be figuring out what you're going to do with your life. Yeah. So, so I feel like in the last couple of years, I've done so many different things that I can now know what I want to do. But at the same time, it's really hard to focus in on one single thing because, my attention span is really short. But again, it's risky. But at the end of the day, if I don't want to die of a heart attack by the time I'm 50, I probably should, focus in on some things. And one of the things too that I've been really, really thinking about is, would Dieter Rams have done so many different things? I don't think he would have. I think he would have like focused singularly on some things and really perfect what he was doing. And that's where I'm at. Execute was a book that was written in 3 days. It has typos. It has printing errors and things like that. Like, we just wanted to get the idea out there. But I'm at a point in my life where I want to like really perfect something and polish something. I don't want to be known as the guy that puts too many things out there that aren't complete. So to answer your question, yes, I am scared, but it's also a great challenge because I'm ready to build something that I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, no, that's awesome and encouraging.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's a time for each, because without this execute time, you may not have found the problem of Simplecast to build that big one.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And execute, I think a lot of people misunderstood what execute really was about, because the definition of executing something is seeing it through. Right. So really what we talked about with these quick builds is building the prototype and getting it off the ground without beating yourself up or, spending too much time on one product that would have never worked. It's not about just throwing something out there and being done. It's getting the idea out there very quickly, testing it, making sure that it's okay, and then you polish it. I think people are in this like technology world, they're bailing either too fast or not fast enough. They stick to something that doesn't work, or they're leaving before anybody really takes off. There's a ton of products out there. I literally think someone could have a business of going to these apps where they quit too early and putting a business behind them, because there's a lot of people creating great products, but there's no one there to sell it, to get it out to more people. Like, it's amazing. I don't think people are being patient enough, or they're being too patient.
Interesting.
Yeah, it comes with age, though, I think.
Yeah.
Knowing when to stop and when to keep going, yeah.
Well, Execute actually had a pretty big impact on Matt and I, because we're kind of the same mentality where we like to work on a lot of different things or whatever we're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And after reading that book, it kind of sparked both of us to quickly get something out. And a lot of them we actually don't see through, but we scratch that itch and at least get something out there and decide if it's worth moving forward with or not. And even if something doesn't come all the way to fruition, we learn something every single time going through it. So
yeah, I love that. And I'm ridiculously proud of you guys. I talked to a lot of people about you guys and what you built, because you did. You took it, you put it into practice. And when I wrote the book, and even in my everyday life, and why I started Patterns is you guys, like trying to spark some kind of fire and then watch someone put it into action and build something. I'm using the product that you guys put out there, Hookfeed. You guys made me proud, and that's exactly what you want to get out of something when you put time into a book or a project. So
wow, that means a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, guys.
Aw, shucks.
Oh, shucks.
Well, cool. Can you tell us where we can keep up with you online?
Yeah, so you can just go to Twitter, really, at Josh Long. That's the best thing to do, because then you can kind of just see the little Twitter handles of the projects that I'm doing. So, yeah, just go to Twitter, at Josh Long, and start there, I guess.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Rocketship podcast. If you haven't yet, pop open iTunes and subscribe to be notified of future episodes. We have some really great ones lined up.
And while you're there, leave us a review. We really appreciate each and every one of them.
Every day. It could be wonderful every day. Every day it could be every day. Every day, every day, every day. Oh, wonderful, every day could be so wonderful. It could be every day when you're walking down the street. Wonderful. Everybody that you meet has an original point of view. Every day, it could be wonderful. Every day, and I say, hey, every day, hey. Every day, it could be wonderful. It could be so wonderful. Every day, it could be wonderful. It could be wonderful. Every day, it could be wonderful. It could be wonderful. It could be every day. Wonderful. Every wonderful.
So wonderful.
Message, and it comes from the heart. Believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, what a wonderful night today. Learn to work and play. Get along with each other. I say, night and day. We can learn to work and play. Get along with each other. Listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message, yeah, and it comes from the heart. Believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. I'm gonna get by when the going get rough. I'm gonna love life till I'm done grown up. And when I'm going down, I'ma go down swinging. My eyes still smiling and my heart still singing. I'm gonna get by when I'm gonna get rough. I'm gonna love life till I'm done grown up. And when I'm going down, I'ma go down swinging. My eyes still smiling and my heart still singing. I'm gonna get by when I'm gonna get rough. I'm gonna love life till I'm done grown up. And when I'm going down, I'ma go down swinging. My eyes still smiling and my heart still singing. Gonna get by when I'm gonna get rough. I'm gonna love life till I'm done growing up. And when I'm going down, I'ma go down swinging. My eyes still smiling and my heart still singing.
Hey, my name is Lovan Rump, and I've been working my ass off as a celebrity stylist by day and a podcast host by night. At the Low Life Podcast, it's all about keeping it real. We're talking fashion, beauty, to religion, sex, drugs, mental health. I mean, there's no topic off limits here, and vulnerability is mandatory. You can find my podcast, The Low Life, that's L-O, no W, everywhere and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. New episodes are out every Thursday. We'll see you then.
It's pretty eerie to know you're in a place that no human's ever been before.
This is Armchair Explorer, where the world's greatest adventurers tell their best stories from the road.
And 4 of us were swept down the side of the mountain, and then I knew there was no way out of this thing.
From the heart-pounding to the inspiring and the downright insane. Find Armchair Explorer, a part of APT Podcast Studios, wherever you get your podcasts.
Go and find what it is in the world that matches that wildness in yourself.